Hey guys, welcome to another 72 DPI online video. Today we are going to be learning the 2 to 6 player game Flashpoint Fire and Rescue. This was designed by Kevin Lansing and published by Indie Boards and Cards. This is a fantastic game where you are taking on the role of a group of firefighters trying to save victims from a burning building. The object of the game is obviously to save those victims before the whole house becomes engulfed and comes crashing down from the flames. So let's go ahead and learn to play. So Flashpoint offers 2 game experience, one for more of a beginner side and then another for a experienced side. The game mat itself has 2 sides, so you've got the beginner side here and then you've got the flip it over here. This is the experienced side. There's a little bit different layout and some more information and things like that on the experience side. This right here is the side that you'll be starting on. Think of this as like the center room. The other side doesn't have a center room, so this blue tiled kitchen area represents the first beginner side. So we're going to go ahead and get the game set up and take a look at the pieces and go from there. So the first thing that you'll notice is you've got a couple different rooms scattered all throughout this house. And you've got a walkway all the way around the actual house itself. The first thing that you're going to want to do is set up all these doorways, and there's these door tiles to do that. They are double-sided, so you've got an open door on one side, and then you have a closed door on the other side. So you want to put these all closed-doored on the inside doors. You will skip all of the outside doors on the perimeter of the house itself. So it looks like, I think there's 7 total doors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me, there are 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So there's 8 total doors, and then you should have 1 left over. You can return that door to the box, as you won't be needing it. So the other thing that we will be returning to the box that we won't need are these specialty cards. These have a couple different character types on them and like professions and things like that. These we will be returning to the box. This is more for the experienced players in the experienced variant. So we're going to be putting those back in the box. The other thing that you'll be returning is these tokens. There's a couple different ones here. So you've got a fire truck and an ambulance token. All of those will be going back to the box. You have a health token. It's got a like a medical red X plus sign on it. You've got a hazardous material. Those tokens will all going back, and the small flame token, not to be confused with the fire token. The small flame token will be the ones that will be going back to the box. So, and like I said, there are several of those. Those are on the experience side of the game board. So you've got your doors set up. We've got your pieces put away. The other thing that you could possibly use for this one, I know it says experience rules only, but they have these action cards that kind of spell out what we're going to be talking about here, and a lot of that does pertain to like the movement and stuff like that, but ultimately there's a few things in here that are on the experience side as well. So you could technically remove these from the game or use them. I'll leave that up to you. So the next part of the setup is the placing of the fire, and you'll notice that there's a grid across the entire map here, and there's dice faces along the perimeter of the map, and this kind of gives you the coordinates of the actual map itself. So like, for example, this square right here is 1, 4. So there's a set number of spaces that you need to place fire at the very beginning of the game to get it started. So let's take a look at those now. And you can actually refer to the manual guide here, and it tells you exactly where to place the fire tokens. So so on page 2, it shows you exactly which fire tokens go where. So let's go ahead and get those set up here. So the first one is 2, 2. So 2 here, 2 here. And we're going to take our fire tokens. Here's our fire tokens. These are double-sided, so you've got fire on one side and smoke on the other. So 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 5, 4, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 5, 5, 7, and then 6, 6. So the remaining fire tokens and smoke tokens you'll want to keep out because those are used throughout the entire game. So the next step after we get the fire set up is we want to again refer to the instruction manual, and again on page 2 it tells us exactly where to place the next setup piece, which is our points of interest. These are blue chips that have a white question mark on them. There's actually 2 points of interest. The first one being a victim, which has got a printed person right listed on there. And then also there is a false alarm, which is represented by a blank chip on the other side. So when you place these out, you'll put them face down with the question mark up, so it's hidden information. Before you put out these starting points of interest, you're actually supposed to remove 2 of the people and then 1 of the false alarms. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Take those and return those to the box. We won't be using those. The remaining stack should have 10 of the points of interest that have a victim on the other side. So you'll shuffle these up, and the game instructs you to put one at 2, 4. So put one there, and then one at 5, 1. And then we'll put another one at 5, 8. Okay, so you'll want to keep the actual points of interest markers. Those are going to be close by. You're going to push the damage markers, which are these black cubes. There's 24 of them. Those are going to be going near the board. You've got the remaining threat tokens. Those are going to be sitting next to the board as well. Then you've also got the action tokens, which are the green tokens with the white little stick figure on them. All these tokens are going to go near the board for everyone to be able to reach. So then the dice, you'll also keep the dice nearby because that will be used throughout the entire game. And the last step is to pick your miniature. So you've got 6 different minis, 6 different colors. So each person will select one and then select the matching card that goes with it. This doesn't tell you anything other than what character you are. So that just is a way for you to remember, hey, I'm the red guy. So we'll set up a game here with 3 people, and we'll return the rest to the box. So we have red, blue, and green, and we'll return those to the box. And the last part of the setup phase is placing your mini. So players can choose to place their mini anywhere all around the outside of the house. There are 4 entry points near the house, so generally speaking, it's a good idea to be as close to that as possible. So we've got everything set up for the game itself. The doors are set up, the fire's placed, the POIs are set in place, everyone's selected their character. We are ready to play. The game is played over several rounds, and each round is broken down into 3 phases, and let's go ahead and talk about those phases now, starting with the action phase. During the taking actions phase, players will be moving, they will be opening and closing doors, they will be chopping down walls, and they will also be putting out fires. Each of these different things and actions take action points. You start your turn with 4 action points to spend, each one of them requiring a different amount of action points. So for example, with your 4 action points, you can move 4 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 movement per square requires 1 action point. To open a door, that requires 1 action point. So for example, if I were to move 1, 2, I could open this door for 3 and then move into the room for my 4th action. Now, the other actions that you can do would be chopping down walls. So let's say, for example, I wanted to get to this fire so I could put it out, but this wall is in between us. So I can use my chop ability and add damage to this wall. Each wall takes 2 damage tokens to be destroyed, therefore you can move through as well as fire move through as if the wall was not there. So each damage token requires 2 action points. So in one turn, you'd be able to put 2 action points down, and that would be the end of your turn. So the other action you can take is extinguish fire. Now you can extinguish a fire that is an adjacent space to you. So now that this wall has been broken down, we can extinguish this fire for 1 action point down to smoke, and then another action point to remove smoke from the board. You can also extinguish fire from the space that you're in as well. So there's some other things that you can do throughout your turn that don't require action points. One of them being you can flip over a victim card. You have to be in the same quadrant as them, the same square, so you flip it over. That doesn't cost anything. Now, when you're carrying a victim, it requires 2 action points to move. So if you're going to be carrying this guy with you, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. There are some rules to carrying victims. You cannot move through fire. So for example, if I had my victim here and I was carrying the victim, I wouldn't be able to move through this fire and continue on. I would actually have to put the fire out to smoke. So 1 action point, 2, 3, and then that would be the end because I couldn't pay an extra one. So this action right here will require 3 action points. So that leads us to the next part of the tutorial. If you don't spend all your action points, you actually can store them for future turns, and that's by using these green tokens. These are the action tokens. You'll just place them on your character card, and you'll be able to use those at your next turn. So at the beginning of my next turn, I'll actually have 5 actions because of this 1 green token. So the next phase in this turn is the advance to fire. And this basically means the active player takes the 2 dice, the black and the red one, they roll them, and that tells you where to place a fire token. So we rolled 1, 3, so 1, 2, 3, and nothing happens. So there's a couple different results of what could possibly happen. So let's say that this was actually smoke, and we rolled 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now this has become fire. The other reaction could be, if there's already fire, 1, 2, 3, place fire, now you have an explosion. So to simulate an explosion, what's going to happen is when you place a fire token in a space that already has a fire token, you're going to place another fire token up, down, left, and right. That is, of course, unless there is a wall or door in that place. So, for example, this was where we were placing our fire. You're going to go up, there's already fire, so it's going to continue to the next space. Well, there's a wall in this space, so we're going to go ahead and put a damage token there. To go to the left, there's a door, so what happens there is you actually remove the door token from the game, and now you can move through there freely, as well as the fire. The down direction has another wall, so we'll put another damage token, and then the space to the right has nothing, so we'll put a fire token there. The other one outcome that could possibly come up is if there was a smoke token there. Basically what you would do is just flip that over to a fire token, and that's how you resolve a explosion. So for the next portion of this advanced fire phase, we're going to talk about flashover, and we're going to add a few smoke tiles to our board here, and we're going to go ahead and open this door. During the advanced fire phase, the second portion of it is the flashover portion. That basically says if there is fire adjacent to a smoke, you're going to flip that smoke over to fire and then continue in this fashion. When you're done with this phase, there shouldn't be any smoke that's adjacent, up, down, left, or right space next to a fire. So you're going to continue this fashion all the way till the very end. So one of the things to keep in mind during the actual phase of the advanced fire, whether that's during the explosion or during the flashover, is if the fire ever interacts with a point of interest, whether it's been flipped over or not, that point of interest is now lost. So whether that's a false alarm or a person of interest, you're going to take that and he's going to go to the lost side of your board. Likewise, let's say that one of your firefighters is in the smoke when it turns to fire. This means your person's knocked down, and they will go to the nearest door to them. If there's a tie, then the players get to pick which door they go to. If that person was carrying somebody, a point of interest, they're immediately lost and go to the lost side of the board. So the third and final phase of the player turns is replenishing the points of interest. So at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to examine the board, and if there's any points of interest that are on the board that haven't been discovered, you're going to roll dice to get that back up to 3. So right now we have 1 that hasn't been discovered, so we're going to roll the dice twice. So the first one is going to go on 2, 6, and you'll take one of the randomized here, so 2 and then 6, and then we're going to roll again for 3, 1. So there's going to be 1 there. So there's a couple different scenarios during this phase that could possibly come up. If you roll the dice and there's fire or smoke in that location, you immediately remove the fire or smoke and place the point of interest there. If there's a player in the location, you immediately flip the point of interest over and put it in that spot. So the last situation would be if you roll the dice and there's already a point of interest in that square, you'll just re-roll the dice. And that's the turn setup. Players will play around in clockwise order until the game ends, which can be in 3 different ways. The first way is in victory, when the firefighters carry 7 of the victims out of the house and to the perimeter of the house itself. They immediately go over into the safe spot. So once they successfully rescue 7 of them over here, the game ends immediately and they win. The other 2 ways are with defeat, and that is first when the 24th black cube is placed on the house itself. The entire house is considered engulfed and collapses and kills everyone. So the other way the players can be defeated is if they lose 4 of the victim tokens. Those are all placed again up on this corner of the board. Once they lose the 4th one, the game ends and it's considered a loss. And that's how you play Flashpoint. This is a fantastic cooperative game for multiple players. I love that it sits up to 6 players at the table. This is a great game for kids and a great game for families as well as experienced gamers. So I highly recommend it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you get subscribed to the channel, leave a like on the actual video itself, and leave a comment down below if you what you liked about the game, what you don't like about the game, and if you've played it before. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.